All your friends do.
All your buddies.
Alright, here we go. Today is 9 November of 2012, section 5.1, day 2. We're graphing today, graphing linear equations. Yesterday we talked about it. Today we're actually just going to concentrate on graphing. There are 12 problems in your homework. The graphs are very simple. I just want you to learn and get used to graphing correctly how I want you to do it. Yes, I am that person that will check every point in every graph. You will learn how to graph a line whether you like it or not. Linear equations. Linear equations. Okay? Here we go. Yes. Here we go. EQUATIONS. Graphing linear equations. Now, yesterday we talked about identifying the different types of equations. Today, we're actually going to graph them out. So, make sure, for all your problems, solve for y equals. Solve for y equals. This goes back to chapter 4. Chapter 4, we talk about functions. Functions. F of x is equal to y. Same thing. This all has the same thing. What you put in for x, you will get out for y. Domains are x, range is y. If there's not an x present, there will be no y. So we solve for y equals when we are working with equations. Okay? Let's go ahead and get started. We can jump right on in. You ready?
Yeah.
So enthusiastic.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Y minus x equals 4. Thank you. Y minus x equals 4. Today we're going to just exclusively talk about graphing. You can have a positive y, you cannot have a negative y. But the x can be negative. It's okay. The x can be negative. It's allowed. No, because y is what you're solving for. So eventually what you're going to do is you're going to use a calculator like a lot. Y equals. Y equals. Equation. Equation. That's why it's here. What you put in for x, like if I know that x is, here's your mother function right here. See how everything's equal to each other? This is your table. We'll get in this soon. The last week of, in a couple weeks. Okay, this is your mother function right there. When you graph it. It's like magic. Okay. We'll be fine. Let's do the first one together. Oh, sorry. Shouldn't have done that. Sorry, we need to solve for y equals first. We need to solve for y equals first. Sorry, too early. To get y by itself. To get y by itself. This is, you add x. You can add x. It's okay. But when you write it out again, make sure that you are solving for y equals. There. I know.
It's like it's not even there.
That's the whole point. Okay? Let's go, Captain Obvious. Y equals. Now, y equals goes first. The x, the letter goes first. And then you bring down the 4. Letter, variable first. The constant is c. C will go last. Later on, in about 2 sections, this 4, the c is very important. I'll tell you why later. Now that we have an equation, that's your equation. Y equals x plus 4. Yes, that's unknown. We're going to make a t-chart. X values? No. Y values? Here. So again, once we have our equations solved for y, always solve your equations for y. Always solve your equations for y. Y must always be positive. If it's not, then make it positive by dividing by -1. Okay. So here, for simplicity, let's use -2. -2 is substituted into x. -2 is your range. -2 plus 4 is 2, right? So it'll be 2 here. So then I have x comma y. This is your first coordinate plane point. Don't use a pen. Good. So then your point is, because it looks better, -2, comma 2. That's your first ordered pair. X, comma, Y. Use -1 next. -1. In place of X, -1 plus 4. 3. So then I have -1, 3. -1, comma 3. Always include 0. Always include 0. 0 plus 4. It's 4. 0, comma 4. Let's do a couple more. Let's do 2 positives. Let's do 1. 1 plus 4. 5. Last one. I know this is very tedious. Oh, sorry. Oh, jeez. Scared me. Okay. Plus 4 is 6, so then you have 2 comma 6. Eventually, we will not ever need to use table again. But at the very beginning, we will use a table just to show you why or how you get those points. Questions on the points so far? Now we're going to plot these points on the graph. Do a good job, please. -2, +2. -1, +3. 0, +4. 1, +5. 2, +6. If you cannot use a ruler, you did the line wrong. If your line is, your dots are everywhere, it is wrong. Okay? So then, straight line across both axes. Make sure you use both axes. Okay? Make sure it's neat and nice. Graph this correctly. Arrows on the end denotes that the point goes on forever and ever. That is your line. I don't know where I got that. How or where?
Where? I want one like that.
Okay, we'll talk later. That's your first equation of the year. Eventually, we will not need to use all of this. I'm going to teach you on Wednesday to graph it without the line.
Wait, so is that the answer?
This will be the answer. The table and the line.
How do you graph it without a line?
It's easy. I'll show you.
Well, what line?
Is that where you do the whole thing?
Oh, that big line? Yeah.
So let me zoom out here. Yes. All right. So try this on your own. No, in the middle because I ran out of room up here. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All right. Try this one, please. -3y plus 6x equals 18. -3y plus 6x equals 18. Yes, sir.
So today we don't have to do that A equals B.
No. It will come up later. So again, solve for y equals.
Oh, I know.
Solve for y equals first. Solve for y equals first. Solve for y equals first here, but you have to do some adjustments. You have to subtract something and you have to divide by something. Okay. So carry everything over to the right side. Leave the y by itself. So here I subtract 6x on both sides of the equation. Cancel that out. Bring down the 3y equals x goes first. Bring down the positive 18. And then, we're not done yet. We have to divide everything by -3. -3, -3.
So we do C by -3 too?
Yes, everything. The whole thing gets divided by -3. I know there's an equal sign here in chapter 8. No. 6.5, 6, and 7. We're going to have less than and greater than signs, just like what we did. Okay? So then y equals positive 2x minus 6. There's my equation. So let's use this equation to find the x and then the coordinate plane, x and y. Questions on how I got 2x minus 6?
No.
Use -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. For tonight, we're going to keep it simple. Yes. For tonight, it will tell you. I actually created the assignment, so I know what so I purposely picked up lines that were going to be easy to grasp. Okay. So then, use -2 first. 2 times -2 minus 6. -4 minus 6 is it's -10. So it'll be -2, -10, right? Questions on how we got -10? Yes. Because it's 2 times x. 2 times -2, we're substituting in for x. We're substituting for x and then subtracting. Okay? We're just substituting in. That's all we're doing. -1. 2 times -1 minus 6 equals -8.
-1, -8.
Because -2 minus 6 is -8. So this would be -1, -8. Questions on how we got the numbers? 0. 2 times 0 minus 6. 0, -6. This is very, I know this is very, it's just boring and tedious and kind of bleh. But you will get better. We will not be doing tables after this. I'm going to show you why later. And you notice we're not doing, some schools they do calculators first and they show the kids on the calculator only. Well, then when they don't have one at home, they don't know what to do. No, you need to know how to do by hand, and then calculators just help you on later. 2 times 1 minus 6. -4. Oops. -4 and -4, and the last one -2. 2, -2. Graph. -2 all the way down to -10. -1 all the way down to -8. 0, -6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 4, 2, 2. If you cannot connect the line with a ruler, then you did it wrong. There's my ruler. There's my line. Arrows through the ends, going through the quadrants. When they build houses, my friend is a structural engineer, and what he does for a living is that after the architects draw the plans for buildings or houses or whatever, his job is to look only at the structure. Is the structure strong enough to hold that building or whatever, or a bridge? A structural engineer only looks at the parts, different angles, the different kind of types of screws and bolts that they use, right? Or concrete they're using to build the floor. He has to make sure that it's strong enough to hold whatever it is, right? So then when they build houses, a structural engineer will have to know, like, on your house there's a roof. It's called a pitch. Okay? The higher the pitch, that means there's more room in the attic, right? In some houses you can stand straight up. At my house,
I can't.
I have to crawl in. I have to be completely on my back, crawling on my front, crawling through the attic because it's very low. I have no attic space. I can't. Right. So the higher the pitch, this is called a pitch, right? All it is the higher the pitch, just the slope is bigger.
My attic is bigger
Right?
than my house.
Or the lower the pitch, the lower the slope. Think about it. Back in the 50s when my house was built, energy was very cheap. Very, very cheap, right? So people didn't have, it was very cheap to have a house. Well, kind of. So in the summer, my house is very, very hot. Why is that?
Because they didn't build it very well.
Well, think about the roof. You think, sun. How close is my ceiling to the roof?
Very close.
Very, very close.
3 inches.
So in the summer, I can feel the heat, even with insulation, because it's so close to the roof, the sun. People with houses that have a big, giant attic, the heat is farther away from the ceiling. Right? Think about it.
But wouldn't heat rise?
Rise or run. Heat rises too, and that's not a lot of space for my heat to go.
Goes down and goes down.
It depends, right? So,
Science here.
science.
Not math.
Here we go. This one is a tricky one. -5 plus y is equal to -x. Remember that x can be negative. X can be negative, but Y cannot be negative. Solve for Y equals. Marissa, you need to see Miss Rosen after. What do you have 7:30?
Reflection.
All right, when you leave, go see Rosen. Nope, that's it. That's the picture side. Y is positive. So be careful when you substitute the numbers in. There's a negative issue. Y cannot be negative. X can be negative.
Oh, X.
X can be negative. X can be any number. Remember, X can be any number, but Y cannot. That's right. Keep going.
Wait.
That's right. That's right. Two names make a positive when you multiply. So this one, make sure you are very careful about the graphing. I'm sorry, about the substitution. Right. So here, I'm going to add 5 to both sides. Y equals negative X plus 5. Letters and the constant numbers always last. It will make a big difference later on. So I've picked this problem on purpose to show you this issue right here. Let's see, X comma Y. So negative 2. Remember, you're substituting in place of X, right? So it'll be negative, parentheses, negative 2 plus 5. Be careful about how you're substituting those numbers in. It's going to come back. Yeah, this is positive 2. 2 plus 5 is 7. So it'll be 2, sorry, that'll be 7. That'll be 2, negative 2, 7. Let's do 1, negative 1. Negative sign, parentheses, negative 1 plus 5. That'll be 1 plus 5 is 6. Negative 1, 6. 0. 0 cannot be negative. 0. 0 plus 5 is 5. 0, 5. 1. 1 plus 5. Oh, wait, no, sorry. Negative 1 plus 5. Sorry, negative 1 plus 5. 4. 1, 4. The last one, again, this lesson's on YouTube. Please watch it if you need extra assistance. Also, do the odds in the back of the book. The odds are like just like the evens. That's how I got through college math, like 9 times.
Wow. You're telling people on YouTube to watch your video on YouTube?
I know, counterintuitive, right?
Wait, so it's recording now?
Yes.
And you're telling them to watch it.
All right, ready?
Oh, yes.
Any questions?
No.
Right.
Dog.
All right.
Yeah.
Stop cussing. Let's go. Negative 2. Positive 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Negative 1, 6. 0, 5. 1, 4. 3, 2, 3. Again, if you cannot use a ruler, you probably graphed it wrong. Yes, of course. Yes. It will be. We're only doing lines. Only lines. Mother function. That's wrong. All right. So that's my line right there. Let's do 2 more examples, and we'll start on the homework. I do want to talk about the following graphs here that we talked about yesterday in class. These are one of the more difficult ones. 12 equals 4x. 12 equals 4x. 12 equals 4x. Now, at first it looks like, oh, it's no solution, or it's not a line. But actually, it is. 12 equals 4x.
Why 0?
Okay, well, we got to fix it first. So solve. Divide, right? Divide by 4. So that cancels out. So 3 equals x, or x equals 3. This is from yesterday's lecture. This is one of the hardest graphs to remember. X equals 3. Many times students will forget how to graph this. X, what's repeating here? We know that 3 is x, 0. So x is repeating. Well, think about that. Think about your table. If x is repeating, y could be any number. X is the same number. X is repeating. Y can be -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Well, think about how this line graphs. X is repeating because x is 3. Every value of x is 3. 3, -2. 3, -1. Look how the line graphs. Because the x's are repeating, this is not a function. Now, it's linear, but not a function. It's a line, but not a function. It's a line, but it cannot be a function. It's a line, but it cannot be a function. X equals a number is not a function. What kind of slope is that?
Zero.
No slope. It drops. Zero's flat. Right. So this one just drops down. That's it. This is no slope. No slope. Questions? No slope, sorry. And I don't want to do a y one. Oh, sorry, let me zoom this up. A y equals 1 just to show, so that you have that in your notes. Okay. No slope. Well, you graph it. This will be a no slope eventually. Yeah. No. All right, and then try this one, and I'm going to pass out your homework, and I'm going to staple your homework to your graph, so leave it out.
So these graphs? Or?
Yes.
Oh.
Y equals -7. I'm going to staple your homework to your graph, so leave it out.
Okay.
Y equals -7. Y equals -7. Y equals -7. Choose your answer, Y for whatever. I'm going to staple your homework to your notes, to your 2 graph paper.
What is this?
No. It was printed. I saw some extra paper. I needed to print some, so don't worry about the back.
Good job.
Some people didn't get one. All right, let's go. You're getting distracted. Sorry, I'm gonna pass it. Okay. So here, we know that y, all the y's are -7. We know all the y values is -7. X can be any number. Is it still a function? Yes, this is a function, and it's also a line. Linear function, thank you. So -7 is down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the line will be going across. It's going across the bottom here. Arrows in the end, neatly. This is a 0 slope. Yes, please, just so you see it over and over again. Okay. Hold on, a whole bunch of these. So I'm going to come around and staple your homework together. I'm done with notes. We will graph until we cry.
Oh, I'm already crying. Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. You're using it right now. Like,
No, like when we get out of school.
about. Yes, you will.
Then what?
You become a math teacher. There you go.
I know.
Okay.
Like we're not even getting
Right. Yes, you will. Let's go. On 5.1, when you graph linear functions, do you need a ruler?
I just borrowed it.
Do you not need one at home?
I have one.
Okay. It says graph the following. Make sure you solve for y equals. Use -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2 for your x values. Use a ruler. So your homework, when you finish, should look something like. Hold on, where's mine? It should look like really neat lines. As, for example, here. So like what I'm gonna do, like this. See this transparency? Like these lines right here. What I'm gonna do is show your work, and I'm gonna just, as I grade it, I just plop it on top of it and see. If it doesn't match up, then yours is wrong. Okay? That makes sense? So I can see immediately. Some people, they get it right away. Some people miss every single problem. If you're that person, that's just fine. It will happen. That's how we fix it. Okay? So instead of making the problem get lingering. So what I need to do, go ahead and get started on your homework. I'll post it right now. And I'm going to come around and staple your stuff together. Make your choices.